It's time, my friends, for another Devo tip on God's staff team. Today we're going to look at Michael. I think it's exciting to discover and even comforting to know that God has staff meetings. The Lord created the hosts of heaven to help us rule the earth and fill the earth with his glory. Well, in these heavenly staff meetings, there's a couple angels that are called on for major assignments. Yes, Michael and Gabriel. Let's look at Michael today. The little book of Jude mentions Michael in a doozy of a story. This is Jude 1:9. When the archangel Michael, contending with the devil, was disputing about the body of Moses, he did not presume to pronounce a blasphemous judgment, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." Now, there's nothing in the Bible that records this episode. All we have is Deuteronomy 34, verses 5 and 6, which states that Moses died and the Lord buried him in the land of Moab. But no one knows the place of his burial to this day. This is weird. Well, this is also one of those rare cases where the New Testament alludes to or quotes from a book outside the Bible. And in this case, it's probably either the Assumption of Moses or the Testament of Moses. Neither one was written by Moses, but they were written in the 1st century AD. Well, stories about angels were very popular in ancient Jewish literature. So why is Jude bringing this story up? Well, when we look at the end of Moses' life, he was pretty worn out by Israel's constant complaining. Poor guy, he made it to the edge of the promised land. But as Psalm 106 says in verse 33, they, meaning Israel, made his spirit bitter, and he spoke rashly with his lips. So, back to the story in Jude, Satan must have reasoned, if Moses disqualified himself from entering the promised land, he should be disqualified from entering heaven. So how does Michael respond? Well, Jude says that he's not going to presume to pronounce a blasphemous judgment on Satan or Moses or both. Well, Michael not only refrained from passing judgment on Moses and avoided the risk of slandering him, Mike also refused to judge Satan. And notice that he chose to call on the Lord instead, saying, "The Lord rebuke you." Michael left all judgment, whether it was about Satan or Moses. He left judgment to the Lord. Now that's one self-disciplined, humble angel. Perhaps our image of angels is too static, too bland. Michael not only shows us what good angels do, he shows us who they are. Michael did not step out of his identity when contending with someone who had completely abandoned his identity. And I think that is Jude's point. To step out of one's God-appointed identity and usurp God's role as judge will inevitably lead to slandering others. We need to be like Mike. We don't know everything that's happening inside other people's hearts. Everyone struggles with something, whether it be fear, control, doubt, insecurities, pride. List goes on and on. Everyone has a backstory that influences them every day. We cannot presume to put a bow on all our judgments and call it a day. We need to be like Mike. Be humble.